would like to first develop rapport with you guys. And how I want to do it is I want you to respond to my question. If I ask you a question, would you please respond? Those who want to respond, raise your hand. The reason why I do this is because speaking is about communication, and we can't even communicate because we're thinking, did he do the right moves there, body movements is there? I mean, how can we communicate? We can do different things. We can also do that, but we can also communicate. Why stop yourself? And most of the times, here's what I see. That's communicating disgust, that's communicating blame, that's communicating judgment, you see. So I want to let you be aware of that and work with me in this speech, all right? Do you agree with me? Please raise your hands. Thank you. Raise your hand if you're in favor of sex without desire. Anyone? No one? That's very interesting. Raise your hand if you're in favor of sex with desire and love and affection. Manhal doesn't raise it. This is very interesting. So Manhal, what's your preference, neither?
The first one was without commitment, which I can't.
Without desire.
Without desire. That just doesn't work. Okay? The second one, with the love and affection type thing, is going to be based on the definition of love. And are you talking in terms of love in marriage? Or are you talking about you care that much about a person and sex is just an extension of how you care about that person? It's just another level of friendship.
Right. Within my definition, within those questions, of course, marriage is involved, commitment is involved, and the desire to actually support the other person in the relationship. So all these questions are within the boundary of relationships, not rape or not selling sex. All right? So everyone's clear on that? That what we're going to talk about is within the bounds of relationships, intimate relationships. So the question is, what is the definition of sex? Now, before we can choose, first we have to know the definition of sex, because otherwise we don't know whether our choice is aligned to the definition that is really the real definition of sex. So, Lori, would you give me a definition of sex?
Gender association. No. Male, female, no. Intercourse. There's one definite.
And for what reason?
That's the first one that pops in my head.
All right. For what reason are we going to have intercourse?
Oh, okay. So the connection between two people.
Like
Usually I would say it would be lust.
all right.
Love could be involved, but it starts out with lust.
Okay. So I looked at the definition of sex in the dictionary, specifically the word web. It says the penis going into the vagina, for the purpose of orgasm, and then ejaculation. All right. So all these are physical things. Now, where did it say about desire? Where did it say about love? There wasn't. It was purely a physical thing for procreation. You agree? All right. So, but of course, the definitions in the dictionary, how did it come about? What happened here is they surveyed everyone's meaning of words. And they said, oh, there are so many people who defined it like this, so let's put it in the dictionary. That's really how they do it. All right. So I am now wanting to redefine sex. Why? Because Laura's definition doesn't fall into this physical category, you know, because he's talking about lust and also desire, isn't it? Yeah, within this physical intercourse. So I am going to redefine sex. Here's how I will redefine it. SEX, from self-interest, exchange of, meaning energy exchange. Energy exchange is happiness or sadness. That's energy, positive, negative. All right. So self-interest within energy exchange. That's how we actually define it now. So I would like to redefine it to self-expression. Now, very simple, you see. Because you see, when you interact with another body, you physically express yourself within that expression. So self-expression, nothing else. Right. So it's physical self-expression within different sensations of touch and all the other sensations. It is a total sensation, which is giving you orgasm. Really? Can you have orgasm through physically touching yourself?
Yes.
Oh.
Of course, right? All right.
I've never done it.
There's electrical appliances involved.
Can we just please touch ourselves like this? Now, are you really touching yourself and getting a sensation that where you can feel the cells kind of respond to your touch? Or you're just touching because you were told to?
I didn't think about it until now, but never mind.
What did you say?
I didn't think about what you said until now, so I'll go to the back room and be back in a little bit.
All right, now, here's what I want you to do. Touch yourself in awareness that you are touching the skin, which is really the largest organ in your body. You are touching the skin and it's creating a response from within yourselves, within that touching, coming from a point of, I am here, you are here, we are all here, and we will work for what is best for all of us. Isn't that something? Touch. Only that touch. Now, the reason why I am into redefining words is that there are 3 problems that this creates within sex. The timeline of sex is this: attraction, desire, sex, babies, or no babies, right? But this is always present: attraction, desire, sex, aside from selling yourself within prostitution, right? So what I'm advocating is that we look at the problems created by this timeline: attraction, desire, and sex. And I know all of you raised your hand when you said you're all for sex within desire. And because this is the politically incorrect Toastmaster, we are going the reverse. And I know you will react to this. So as you react, could you please breathe through this reaction? Be with me on this. All right? Because there are many more speeches coming your way and politically incorrect. I'm sure of that. Especially that now I started all this. So, here are the 3 problems with this timeline. first, you are only aware, love is a many splendored things. You are only aware of the splendor. And here's what happens when you're only aware of the splendor. You create images in your mind of this splendor. So you imagine a world that Manuel talked about, where money is not a problem and there's support everywhere. But what I'm saying here is that if you are focused on splendor, you will miss other things in life. And what is interesting when you focus about splendor is that you're gonna filter reality. You're gonna look for splendor everywhere without knowing that you're actually coming from fear of no splendor. That makes sense? Alright. So splendor itself, to be desired, is not real splendor. It is a fear that you want to satisfy through imagining everything that is good and beautiful. What about the case of this person where, let's for example look at my journey here in life. I met this guy in high school and I was like, oh, and so I have this imagination of this guy being this knight in shining armor, right? And so I did not do my tests. So I just focused on entertaining this guy through makeups, through everything. I'm more on the mirror than looking at what is going on around me. So there is danger here. What's the danger? The danger here is you're not aware, so you can be hit by a car. That car. It's my boom, and suddenly I'm dead. You see? So, but this is true. I mean, it may not happen all the time, but it can happen. So the second problem with this is that within this timeline of attraction, desire, and sex being the culmination or the satisfaction of the desire, is that you become blind. Love is blind. And after you become in love with this person, what happens? You have sex. Right? So, you are actually blind. And you cannot see reality as what it is. You have limited your sense of perception to a point where you filter it and only the good things that you like, you will actually see. So what happens after that? Your eyes become blurry. Because the physical actually animate your imagination in your mind. If it is filtering reality, it will filter it physically. So then, you have blurry vision. So, especially women, for myself, the way I dealt with this was I became blind to the suffering around me in the Philippines. I started putting on makeup and making myself look good because I don't want to look at the problems in society, the poverty and everything. So I wasn't able to look at possible solutions that I can maybe even participate. You see? So number 3 is that you are not here. You are somewhere else in an alternate reality. Because here means you have to look at suffering and the beauty that exists. You see, and you're looking at the imagined beauty where you miss the real beauty, which I will talk about next, which is part of the solution. Now, number 1 is just looking at the splendor, right? And then you lost track of reality, and then you are then unable to get away from danger, for example, and you get hit by a car. Now, with regards to having sex without desire, which means you are also in a relationship that is committed to supporting each other. That means that you are physically able to stimulate yourself through that kind of touch that I was talking about. More of beingness, awareness touch. Interacting with your skin and really feeling it, being there, you see. And so when you touch another person, it becomes more of, let me, express this in sex. So then, what happens is, you're causing stress. Your body is now needing more energy. Guess where it's coming from? The food that you give your body.
Different because we are human beings and we have emotions that are connecting us to a sexual partner. Where animals and such, they're doing it literally just to procreate, which is the literal definition of sex. But that doesn't mean that that is the overall meaning.
Right. So what is your definition of sex then?
I would say emotional, it's an emotional, more than an emotional and physical transaction with another human.
But it does involve the penis in the vagina.
Oh, absolutely. Well, not always.
And
Not always.
So not always?
I mean, you can, I think you can have sexual activity without having sex.
Okay, then maybe you will have to redefine it. Just like me, I redefine.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that then we can live it.
Exactly.
Because if we, and what is very important when we redefine words is that it has to benefit all mutually. Because if it is just for self-interest, my definition of sex before, which is self-interest within energy exchange, is still going to that kind of downward spiral, you see, rather than benefiting all women sex.
I believe that the meaning is a marriage itself that was given by heaven, and that sex provides a benefit, an incentive through all the difficult times, the times when you don't want to talk to each other at all, but you want to stay and work it out, right? Because you've got this benefit or any other kind of benefit. If they're your tutor in school, there's a benefit. I think the Almighty wants us to have good, unrestrained sex as a reward for doing all the finer things that we talk about.
Okay, so then you will have to redefine sex also for
Sure.
from your end, because then
Sure.
so then we can understand you, because without a definition that all can understand, we won't be able to understand each other, you see. And it can create in religions, like religion wars, diet wars, and stuff like that, which is only coming from a definition that is not best for everyone, but rather more so.
Yeah, you're sorry. I forgot to.
All right, great. This is Toastmaster.